everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Swathi and you're watching Swathi's Commerce Tutorials. Well, we were making a series on your NTA UGC Net Commerce first unit, that is your Business Environment and International Business. And this is your third session under the first chapter where we are going to cover the important topics like your macro environment. Under this topic, we have already covered two aspects of your elements of environment of macro aspect, that is your economic environment as well as political and legal environment. In today's class we are going to cover all the rest of the elements which is related to your macro environment. Before that, if you have not watched my previous videos or if you are new to my channel, then please do subscribe to my channel, that is Swathi's Commerce Tutorials. And for all the details of the videos which I have uploaded previously regarding this economic as well as your political and legal environment, I'll leave the links in the I button up there as well as I'll leave the links in the description box below. So please go and check it out. Okay, then without any further ado, let us quickly start today's session of macro environment. Before which, let me quickly brief you upon what and all we had covered in the previous class. As I've told, we have covered the economic environmental aspect, where economic environment will be divided into three sections. One is your economic conditions, where we have discussed the different business cycles of your economy, like your expansion, peak, recession, depression, and your recovery, and how did it affect the economy on the whole. Then we went on to studying the second aspect of your economic environment, which is your economic system, where we segregated this economic system into three types. One being your capitalistic economy, we also call it as a market economy, where entire means of production is in the hands of whom? It's in the hands of private ownership. And then we read about the socialistic economy, where we also call it as a non-market economy, where the means of production are in the hands of government. And the last type of economic system was a mixed economic system, where the means of production are shared by two individual groups of entity, that is your private ownership as well as your government ownership. And the best example you can give for this type of economy is India. Then we went on to the third aspect of your economic system or your economic environment, where we read about the economic policies. Okay, we read about this economic policies, where we segregated these economic policies into two types, one being the monetary policy and the other being your fiscal policy. Monetary policy was a policy where we tried to regulate the money supply in the economy, whereas this fiscal policy is a tool which is used by the government in order to generate the revenue as well as in order to manage the expenditure. Then in this slide, we have explained how and what are the ways in which these two differ from each other. Then we moved on to the second type of your environment, which was your political environment, where the word political itself says we are talking about political stability. So if we are talking about political stability, definitely there will be the intervention of the government, the political parties, and national sovereignty, and taxation laws as well as international relationships. And how did all these affect the economy that we have studied? Then we moved on to the legal environment, where the word legal talked about what? It talked about laws, rules, and regulations, where these were the different major types of your legal environment, where it was talking about various issues like social environment spoke about social issues, competitive environment spoke about competitive threats as well as competitive environment, where specific rules and regulations were needed to be followed by these companies in order to avoid these unethical trade practices. Then international legal environment, regulatory environment, as well as domestic legal environment we have seen under this legal environment. Then I have told you about the different aspects of legal environment, where you have to keep in mind the different acts which are coming under each of this head as well as the year in which it was framed. The most important act which I have discussed was your Consumer Protection Act of 1986. Let me remind you, my dear students, this is a very important point or important topic of your first unit, as well as this thing will repeat again in your law unit, which is coming next. And that is why you have to keep in mind that this act is very important, where you can be asked MCQs on various aspects like your redressal forums, your CCPA, or your CPC as well. I'll remind you again, if you have not watched this video, then I have left the link to this video in the I button up there. Please go and watch that video before you move on to this next session. Okay, so we'll start today's session with the next environment, which is your socio-cultural environment. The word socio-cultural environment says that we are talking something about the society and the cultural aspect of the society. So here, if we are talking about society, we are definitely talking about people. What do we understand about people? What are their attitudes? How is their working style? What is their family system? What is their caste system, educational background, habitats, as well as the language preferences or their religion? Everything will affect the running of the business, and that is how we will define what type of products we are supposed to make, for whom we are supposed to make, and with what techniques we are supposed to make. That was we have discussed in the economic problems, that is, for whom do we prepare the product, what type of products we have to prepare, and in what quantity we have to prepare. Okay, now there are certain religion where they restrict certain people in order to engage in certain particular type of a business activity, or there may be a restriction with the hands of the people where if they are not understanding the local language, at that time it will be difficult for them in order to circulate the information regarding the products which are being newly launched in the market, and in order to gain more and more potential customers for their business. So that is why we have to understand the people and their attitudes, as well as all the aspects that is circulating around this people or a person on the whole, in order to run our business. To understand this in a better way, we have certain theories which are framed under the socio-cultural environment. The first theory which we are going to study under this is your iceberg model of culture. Now, this iceberg model of culture was given by Edward T. Hall in the year 1970. Okay, now what is iceberg? Iceberg is a glacier which can be found. Okay, now how does it look like? See, I have drawn a picture for your reference where this iceberg, major portion of this iceberg always remains under the water, and only a few portion is visible above the water, and what we imagine is only the portion which is visible, that is the actual iceberg, and the rest of which is hidden we'll never come to know. Same thing they have related to a person, where they say like 90% of an iceberg actually remains hidden and only the 10% is visible. Similarly, only the 10% of a person's attitude, beliefs, or the way he lives, that is only visible to us. That is, what is his tradition, what are the food habits, what attire do that person carries, and only that is visible to us, and we make a judgment that such type of person may like a particular kind of a product, and we can sell that product to that person easily. But what is hidden is that the invisibleness, that is the opinions, beliefs, values, or the value system that each and every person has, that is always hidden, and every business entity should understand that hidden aspect, and only then they can make this person as their potential customer. So in order to understand these beliefs, they have segregated this iceberg model into three pillars. The first being the visible cultural aspect, the second being your patterns and habits, and the third being your mental model. Now, visible cultural practices are those which are always visible to our eyes. That is the dressing style, the food choices, the lifestyle, or the way in which a person carries himself, or the way in which they have a particular standard of living in the society. That is always visible. So, depending upon all these characteristic features, we will decide, or we will frame one particular product, and we will think that that particular product will suit the needs of one particular business or one particular individual. Then we have to understand not only the visible aspect, we have to understand the invisible aspect, like what are their patterns, what are their habits, what are their value system or beliefs and opinions about one particular product. That we have to understand, only then we can better this product, and that can match the needs and preferences of that particular individuals in a better manner. And the third thing we have to keep in mind is the mental model. Mental model says that some things may affect one particular person in a different manner, which may not affect to other person in a in that same manner itself. That means what are their beliefs, attitudes about that particular product. So if they have certain dislikes on one particular product, we have to understand them, and only then we can frame those products and we can sell them. Without understanding all these three pillars which have been said by the icebergs model, a business cannot run in a better manner, because the products which are framed cannot always be done only depending upon the visible aspects of a particular person. So that is why this iceberg model plays an important role in your socio-cultural environment. Similarly, we have another set of a theory which is also called as your Hofstede dimension of culture, which is sixth dimension of culture, or also called as your cultural codes. Here we give six culture codes, and depending upon all these six criterias, business has to understand about how can they run in a better manner in order to survive in this fast running culture. So the first is your power distance. Here we say whether there is high power which is allocated in the hands of the business entity, or whether there is a low power. So if there is a high power, that is monopoly, if it is prevailing in one particular market, at that time what happens is any culture will accept all the inequalities and they will encourage the bureaucracy, because the views and opinions of the people will not be given more and more importance. Whatever the business is going to sell, at that time they will have to purchase it. But that type of power is not good for the economy on the whole. So what type of power should be there? There should be a low distance power, where people are also encouraged to take part in the decisions, where their taste, preferences and their likings should be given importance, and likewise the products has to be prepared. The second type of a culture code which has to prevail in this environment is collectivist or your individualist. Which type of a business are you? Whether you're a collectivist. Collectivist means in your company or in your organization, you set up a goal which is focusing on the group, where all the employees of the organization run for the establishment of the company, where they work in coordination for meeting that one particular group goals or the company's goals. Whereas if the environment is of such that is individualistic in nature, where every employee will focus only on gaining their personal goals, that if they want to achieve a certain incentive, if they want to achieve certain target, if they want to achieve certain promotion, they will only work for that, gaining their personal goals and not their company's goals. So a company should not be an individualistic, it should be collectivistic in nature. Third thing this theory is that a company should have uncertainty avoidance index. That is, it should have certain backup plans. Like we always say that we always have to have a plan B, where we have to keep in mind all the possible threats or all the possible mishaps that is going to happen in the future, and we have to get ready with the plan B in order to come out of this situation. So in the same manner, all these companies which are running in this environment should have the aspect where they are giving out the rules and regulation to the employees, so that they will work in those environmental conditions where the losses will be minimized and the profits or the growth of the business can be seen in a much larger sense. Next type of a cultural code we can see is a femininity or masculinity in that company's environment. Masculinity usually includes general roles like your assertiveness and your money aspect, whereas femininity aspect talks about your modesty, nurturing, as well as the quality of the life that can be built within that organization. Next type of a cultural code is your short term versus long term orientation, where the company decides whether they are focusing on meeting their goals on a short run or whether they are meeting the goals for a long term basis. So, usually the business will grow if they are having a long term future plans, and if they are having a short term future plans, they will not work for a long term. Okay. And the last type of a cultural code is your restraint versus your indulgence. Indulgence, where there is free gratification, where you are enjoying, all the employees in the organization are having that particular environment where they are enjoying their work and they are having fun when they are doing their work as well. That is, the environment is encouraging them in order to live in such free atmosphere, whereas restraint is where the behavior or the response of these employees are restricted and they are suppressed, and at that time what happens is they cannot come out with their best possible outcomes, and that is why their efficiency also reduces there. So that is why these cultural codes has been given to these business enterprises so that they can keep in mind and they can follow all these six type of cultural codes in order to run in a better manner. So this ends your socio-cultural environment. Let us move on to the next type of environment, which is your technological environment. Technological environment speaks about technology. Technology can create problems and also it can build the business, but it is entirely in the hands of the business how they make use of this technology. So here we can see technological factors like innovations and advancement. Innovation speaks about the discoveries which are revolutioning the business operations, where better opportunities are given for the companies in order to improve the products, improve the services, or in order to improve the process as well. Then we can see automation and efficiency, where machines are automated, softwares are upgraded in order to perform certain tasks which can be previously done by humans, but they have been replaced by this machine. Now, what does this do? This reduces the efforts and also it reduces the errors, and all the things which can be done previously by the humans can be done with a lesser time now because of the automated machines. That is one biggest advantage which you can have in terms of your technological environment. Next is your digital transformation, where digital tools and digital platforms are used, where especially in terms of your online sales or your data analysis or your personalized marketing techniques, all these things can be made possible because of this digital transformation. Then if we are conducting this business operation with the help of technology, then we also have to have certain type of analytics where we can store the data in a digital platform as well. So that is why we speak about a data management skills, where we utilize the data and we store the data in a particular manner where we can get access to these data at any point of time without any intervention. We also speak about digital tools like your e-commerce and online presence, where you can sell your products to a mass audience with the help of your e-commerce sites, where you are not only focusing on one particular individual or one particular market, you are focusing on entire globe as your audience, and then you can pitch your products there. Next type of digital transformation which we can see is in terms of your cyber security. When you are making all these transactions, when you are storing all this data in an online platform, at that times what happens is, as I said, technology can also create problems. So in order to reduce these problems, in order to protect your data, in order to protect your business, you have to have your cyber security, where your data which is stored in that data management system can be maintained in such a manner where privacy cannot be breached. That is why we also have to have cyber security. So like this we have studied your another type of environment, which was your technological environment. Next type of environment which we can see under your macro environment is your natural environment, where natural means your nature or your geographical environment. Also we can call this as your ecological environment, where we speak about natural resources, weather, climatic conditions like your rainfall, pollution, etc., and how will it affect the functioning of a business. So before understanding this is a certain points which I have listed here, which we can framed as your MCQ questions for your NTA UGC Net Commerce, where I have mentioned about different spheres of your ecology like your lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and your biosphere. So what is lithosphere? The solid crust or the hard top layer of the earth. That will be your lithosphere, where all rocks, minerals, and the soil content will be a part of this sphere. Then we speak about hydrosphere, where hydro means water. So all the water contents like your river, lake, sea, or ocean becomes a part of the sphere. Then we have atmosphere, where we are speaking about air, where the life content like your dust or your vapors or your oxygen, that is your prominent part of this atmosphere. And lastly, we speak about biosphere, where it is a combination of your land, water, and air. Okay. Now we will move on to the next type of environment, which is your demographic environment. Demographic environment includes factors like your population and different aspects related to your population. That is, how much strength of population does a country have? Whether that has all nuclear family, or whether they all the families in that particular environment or particular country are joint family. What is the age composition? What is the sex composition? How many population are living in urban areas, and how many of the populations are living in the rural area? What is their educational background? All of these characteristics also help the individual companies in order to develop the products. So let us study these one by one. First is your socio-economic level. Socio-economic level speaks about a social class, that is, which group of people belong and what is their purchasing power. Now, if we understand what is the purchasing power, we can set a particular budget of the product, and then we can pitch that product into the market. Where if the product is budget friendly at that time, all the people can get access to this product easily. So that is why socio-economic level should be understood by these business entity. Then we have to understand the age composition of the people living in that country as well, because all the products cannot match the needs and preferences of the people which are belonging to different ages. Like we have certain target audience. For example, there is Johnson and Johnson's, which focuses only upon the infants or the baby, where they make the products which are especially meant for meeting the needs of the infants. And then we have adult products, where we have different packaging styles for them, where products which are using different quantity or quality of the products can also vary. So that is why age composition also matters. Then we are talking about the sex composition, where male and female different products are made for meeting the needs and preferences of that particular type of people. Then we have family structure, where we are speaking about a nuclear family or a joint family. This is majorly meant for different packaging. Like you have seen in various business entities, where they come out with nuclear size products, that is a small packaging size, where they have a large packaging size or the family size of all these products as well, because it meets the needs and preferences of a larger audience as well as a smaller audience. And then we have increase or decrease in the population, where the number of births and migration also affects, because it affects the demand of that particular product. We also have educational level and occupation, where we can understand what type of educational content, or what type of educational background if they have. The information can be shared in such a manner which can be understood by these people, and then they can become the potential customers easily. So that has been your demographic environment. And last type of environment under your macro environment is your international environment. International environment, where we are speaking not only about your national boundaries, but also we are going beyond the national boundaries in order to engage the products in the national international market, where we can get the global audience to be a part, and we can increase the exports of the company, which is not only benefiting to the company but also the country on the whole. Okay, so that is all for today's class, my dear students. We have discussed various points about your macro environment, that is your economic environment, where I've said it is divided into three halves: economic condition, economic system, and your economic policies. And then we read about your political as well as your legal system. We read about your natural environment, where natural environment was speaking about your ecology or your climatic condition, rainfall, and how will it affect your functioning of the business. We have also studied your socio-cultural environment, where two prominent theories were discussed here. Iceberg model, where it has said that 90% of the time what happens is people's beliefs, opinions, values are always not kept in mind while framing one particular product. And that is why, depending on only the 10% which is visible, like their food preferences, taste, and habits, we frame the products and we decide that that will be liked by many of the people. So that is wrong. That is what it is said by icebergs model. And in order to frame a better audience, or in order to gain better scope in the market, we have to study three particular aspects of an individual, which is visible, which is invisible, and also which is mentally and emotionally inscribed in these people. Then we have Hofstede's six cultural codes, which these companies should follow in order to gain better market in the economy, like power, collectivist and individualist, uncertainty avoidance index, femininity and masculinity, short term and long term goal, and your restraint and your indulgence. Then we read about how technology has a major impact on the running of the business, where different automation, innovation, digital transformation, or digital management, and your also cyber security can help you in improving your business on the whole. Then we have studied your natural environment, and we have studied your demographical environment, where we are studying of the population. Demography is nothing but study of the people, where we are studying the people or population on the whole, depending upon various factors like your social economic level, age factor, sex composition, family structure, increase or decrease in the population, and also the economic occupation and your educational level. And lastly, we studied your international environment, where we are studying about your liberalizing your imports and encouraging your exports, so that you can improve your sales not only in the national boundaries but also across the globe on the whole. So if you have liked this video and if you want to know more about such interesting topics, then please do like, share and subscribe to my channel, that is Swati's Commerce Tutorials. And if you want to know, or if you want to get updated about all the latest information, then I have left the links in the description box below for all the previous videos, where you can check out, and all such related contents which I'll be uploading in the near future, you'll get to notified about it if you click the bell icon next to that subscribe button as well. Well, thank you for watching this video. We'll see you in the next class. Thank you.